Mark Zuckerberg has long avoided the spotlight, but rising scrutiny of Facebook drew its founder out to the US Capitol to face the cameras. Early on, there were signs Zuckerberg was in for a grilling from senators.
Let me just cut to the chase. If you and other social media companies do not get your act in order, none of us are going to have any privacy anymore.
The Facebook boss was quick to apologize for past mistakes.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry. I started Facebook, I run it, and I'm responsible for what happens here.
Zuckerberg says he's happy to work with Congress on regulations, and he says his company is hiring more staff to monitor hate speech in different languages. But it seems many lawmakers may not understand much about the complex industry they want to regulate.
How do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
I see.
Outside Congress, pressure is rising on tech companies and lawmakers to defend online privacy. Campaigners say they need to do more to stop the spread of false information online.
No, apologies are not nearly enough, and what we've seen from Facebook is good. It's a good step, but we need leaps. Their solutions so far have been too small, too slow, too secretive.
Zuckerberg is receptive to US regulations, but other countries may want to make their own laws for social media. And Facebook could face pushback if it refuses to play by the rules. Mubin Nasser, TRT World.
Well, now let's bring in Max Wolf from New York. He is the chief economist at Phoenix Group. Max, thank you very much for talking to us. Do you think, looking at Mark Zuckerberg's performance over the last couple of days or so, that he's restored faith in Facebook?
So great to be here. Thanks for having me. Look, I think this went better than could have been expected, or about as well. I think it's a much longer and more complex road back for Facebook. And I think it's also going to depend a little bit on what further revelations come and what happens in 2018 and beyond. And if we see more kind of violations of the variety that have begun to surface with past misadventures with collected user data.
Investors seem to like what they saw from Zuckerberg, certainly yesterday. What do you think's next for the company's share price? It looks like it's going to weather this particular storm, doesn't it?
Well, so it was really rough the first few weeks, actually. About 15% of the total market cap, and it's a big market cap, was erased in the initial weeks after the revelations. But I think the Facebook is starting to float more with the market. So yesterday, the market was happy that basically we didn't see a situation where Mark had to dive deep into the business model, which would have been seen as bad. I think it may be a lack of preparation and some maybe lack of understanding about social media prevented those questions from coming up. But the market kind of liked everything that it saw yesterday. It was in a sort of feeding frenzy when it came to risk, and Facebook was a beat up name, so they jumped on it. I think it takes a lot more than just one day, especially when the market generally rose that much, to assess the value of this PR exercise.
Mark Zuckerberg says when it comes to regulation, he wants the right regulation. That was his phrase. What do you think he means by that?
Yeah, also sort of hard to disagree with that. Like, very few people are going to advocate the wrong regulation, such as it is. I think what he means is something that's as light as viably possible without looking like you don't want to be regulated when you already look untrustworthy. And I think a lot of folks know that privacy regulation in the US has been a long time coming, and we've seen some overtures in that direction, particularly in Europe, maybe particularly from the German authorities, and we're likely to see more than the approximately zero we have now. The way American privacy regulation has evolved is in a few areas there's enormous regulation. So financial markets, pharmaceuticals, medical data, and then everything else there's sort of no regulation. So we have a antiquated patchwork that probably needs to be modernized, and I think even Facebook would, even without this incident, would have advocated more or less for that.
And briefly, Max, because time is running out, unfortunately, do you think that those who will be regulating Facebook and the like actually know enough about the industry? Have we seen that in the last couple of days?
We definitely haven't seen the industry insider or expertise in all of the folks talking in Congress, both yesterday and today, but we'll see some. And the truth is that often when regulation is written, it's a hodgepodge of experts and lobbyists that hash it out. And so it's not generally only the pre-existing wisdom of Congress, which in the last few days probably is a good thing to keep in mind when we talk about future regulation.
OK, Max, really good to talk to you. Thank you for talking to us here on Money Talks.